If you'd like to make your NFL games a little more interesting, you've come to the right place. It's the Even Money Podcast with Ross Tucker and Steve Fezzik.
And Vegas, baby, Vegas. It is the Even Money Podcast presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, and I am fired up for today because Stevie and I came off unbelievable weeks in Week 7 in the NFL. Boy, oh boy, did we, especially me, need that. I was up 9 units. Steve, you were up 10 units. It was amazing. Check us out on social media at Ross Tucker NFL, at Ross Tucker Pod. I'm the former NFL offensive lineman, 5 teams, 7 years, bunch of podcasts and broadcasting gigs now. He's the 2-time winner of the Super Contest at the Westgate, and we have a terrific track record over the last 6 years doing this show, Steve.
No doubt about it, and I always warn people that past performance is no guarantee of future success. However, it is certainly correlated with it. Let's keep it going.
Love it. Hopefully we can do that. It is so fun when you're watching these games and all of your bets come through. So fun. For the year, by the way, I am now at -1 unit. You're up to plus 23, Steve, having a terrific season. Again, please spread the word about this show to other people, and you can check it out on social media, youtube.com/Ross Tucker NFL. Look, I know there's a lot of options out there, and I know some of the guys, I'm sure they're funnier than I am. How about just listening to the podcast that wins? How about that? How about listening to the one that wins? Let's get to Thursday night, Steve. It was the Browns and the Broncos, and you had under 21 in the first half for 2 units. I forget what the halftime score was, but final score was only 31 points. So what was it, like 7-7, 10-7?
Amazingly, I'm drawing a blank on it. I'm like a goldfish. I don't remember things that happened a week ago, Ross.
At any rate, you won. You got your 2 units. I had the Broncos getting 3.5. They lost by 3. It was an amazing thing. I was watching my main man, Dearness Johnson, run out the clock so they could take a knee. I love you, Dearness Johnson. Love that dude. Needed him to run out the clock so they didn't kick a field goal like the Rams did to me on that Thursday night game against the Seahawks a few weeks ago.
Maybe it's not Chubb and Hunt. Maybe it's just the O-line, right?
O-line is very good. It's a good point. O-line is very good. Packers, Washington. We both leaned to the Packers. You could argue we should have taken them because they won. They were laying 9.5. They won by 14, although the Washington football team screwed that up about a million. That was actually almost evenly played game. Green Bay should not have won by 14.
Yeah, phony final. Washington could have won the game. So I'm happy we didn't bet Green Bay, even though that they did indeed get it done on the scoreboard.
Patriots against the Jets. Now, I teased the Patriots from -6.5 to -0.5 point. As did you, Steve. So my 2-team teasers, I only had one, a 2-unit teaser, 2-team teaser, Patriots, Dolphins. That's what you had as well. Patriots down to 0.5 point, Dolphins up to plus 8.5. It was a best bet for us, Steve. It came through. You also, not only did you tease the Patriots down, you also laid the 6.5. Steve, they won by 41 points. Bill Belichick clearly despises the New York Jets.
Yeah, and it's interesting because there were some respected handicappers on the other side, and well, you'll have to ask them. Long-term winners, not so much in the short term, because you nailed it. Anyone watching that game, Belichick just went for the throat and just kept throwing and wanted to bury the Jets again, and he did.
Yeah, he really wanted to try to embarrass them. Bengals, Ravens. I lean to the Bengals getting the 6. Boy, I wish that had been more than a lean. The Bengals, Steve, dare I say, are for real. They win 41-17, getting 6 points. How many points above an average team are they?
Yeah, I got the Bengals. I just updated my power ratings. 1 second. I'm probably still too conservative. I've got Cincinnati 2 points better than an average team. I know that sounds light, but I've certainly upgraded them a lot. This is the question. If you ask the experts like at Football Outsiders and some of the other places, they'll tell you we're only 7 games in. This year's results should only count about 50% of their ratings versus expectations starting the year. Well, if you're going to weight it more towards just this year's results, and maybe you should, then the Bengals are clearly much better than that 2 points. I'm about a 2/3, 1/3, 2/3 being this year's results, 1/3 preseason expectations. Bengals were only supposed to win 6.5 games.
Yeah, I would be at 2/3 or higher at this point. I mean, last year or preseason expectations doesn't mean a whole lot to me now. What about, Steve, the next game? It was the Titans and the Chiefs. We both put 2 units on the Titans getting 5.5. They murdered the Chiefs 27-3. It was never close. The point spread tax is still there with the Chiefs, Steve.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And remember the Chiefs, when they were winning all those games and not covering at the end of last year, well, now they're losing those games. And I could argue that they've gotten somewhat unlucky with the turnovers. They had a lot of turnover-worthy plays that the opponents just dropped the interceptions, etc. But this year, the ball has bounced poorly for the Chiefs. They have no defense, and when the offense doesn't show up, they're horrible. They're a terrible team. We'll see. Will the Chiefs make the playoffs? They're currently a small underdog. I'm not really sure what to do with that. I do think the offense is going to be A-okay. I don't feel that they just magically figured out Mahomes with 2 safeties. We'll see.
Steve, you had a great week on the under first half bets, including Panthers Giants under 21.5. Neither one of those teams could score to save their life for a while. Giants end up winning 25-3. You love the first half unders.
I do, because it eliminates the nonsense, the silliness that can happen when it's 13-3 at the end of the first half, and then the team has to come from behind, and you start seeing things like, well, look at Geno Smith last night, and his final pass of the game, which should have been a pick 6. Those are the sort of plays that happen in the second half, but typically not in the first half.
Interesting. So it's not about like a comeback. It's about end of the game nonsense.
Well, it's like a soccer game where when a soccer team gets down 1-0 or 2-0 with 10 minutes to play, it's not unusual that, boom, you suddenly get a goal or 2 in the final 10 minutes in a dead not under game, because the team that's down is desperate, and a bad offensive team that's desperate is just a pick 6 ready to happen.
Interesting. Okay. That makes a good point. Let's go to Dolphins, Falcons. Already mentioned we both teased them up to plus 8.5. Tua came through for us with the 4 touchdown passes. They lost the game, but they only lost by 2. Then we get to the Lions and the Rams. I lean to the Lions getting the 14.5. You did not have a play on the game. The Lions ended up losing by 9 as Dan Campbell. I mean, think about that, Steve. He stole 3 possessions and still lost by 9. 2 fake punts and an onside kick. That is brutal.
No doubt about it. And it shows the aggressiveness pays off. It was the only way the Lions are going to win that game. Kudos to Campbell and what he did. I love the fact he had a fake punt. The punter, the receiver isn't open. So clearly the punter's supposed to kick at that point. Nah, he still throws it. Back shoulder, wants to be a quarterback. So haven't ever seen that before, Ross, where a punter, I've always seen the punter fake it and throw it to a wide open receiver, never to a guy that's blanketed.
Yeah, that was interesting. That was really interesting. You don't see that very often. But I love Dan Campbell going for the gusto, even if it didn't really work out that well. I also absolutely love overcoming the odds, rewriting the playbook, delivering under pressure. The MVPs of small business lead their teams to victory all year long. Visa is proud to provide playmakers everywhere with more tools to help grow their business and help them achieve even greater success. Because the more people we can empower, the more we all win. Visa, a network working for everyone. Next up, Steve, we had the Eagles and the Raiders. We both leaned Eagles. Good thing that's all it was. They got taken to the woodshed by the Raiders. Then Texans, Cardinals. I leaned Texans getting the 17.5 points. And they were up 5-0 in the second quarter and still end up getting shellacked. Then we go Bears, Bucks. My only loss of the week. You leaned Bears. I put a unit on. Only one. Getting 12.5. The Bears lost 38-3. I was really surprised by that.
Yeah, boom. I moved Tampa Bay up to not just my number one team in the NFL, but 7.5 points better than average team. So I bumped them 1.5 points. That is the highest Tampa Bay has been in my power ratings the last 2 years. They are the clear-cut number one team in the NFL. It's not close.
Why?
Well, they by the end of the year last year, they were the best team. And what have they done this year to make us doubt them? I mean, they're clicking on all cylinders.
Yeah, I guess so. Certainly in that game. Not close, he says. Interesting. What about the Arizona Cardinals? You ever heard of them? They're still playing football?
I got them number 3, Ross. I got them 6 points better. And that's back to our question of how much do I weight this year's results? Because Arizona's been as good, if not better, than Tampa Bay. But I still have to look at the preseason expectations where Arizona was supposed to be a 500 team. A third of that is still in my ratings.
Colts, Niners. I put 2 units on the Colts getting the 3.5. They win the football game outright, 30-18. You put 1 unit on the under, Steve. That did not hit. The total was 44. It went to 48 on the Xavier Rhodes interception late, which hurt you. And then you had Colts, Niners, first half under 22. You lost there too. So you took the under first half and the full game under because of the weather, and it came back to bite you, Steve.
Oh, the weather unders were a disaster. Bomb, cyclone, didn't matter. Teams got there. So that was that's been historically very profitable for me. Was not last week.
All right, so Seahawks, Saints. Seahawks were getting 5. I like the Seahawks getting the points, 2 units. They came through for me. Man, getting the points was awesome for me this week. You had the under 21.5 in the first half. That was a good call. They barely even went over 21.5 for the whole game, with the final score being 13-10. So, again, for the week, Steve was up 10 units. I was up 9 units. I'm down 1 for the season. Steve is up 23 for the season. We were 2-0 on our best bets, which we really needed. That puts us at 10, 7, and 1 on our best bets for the season, a strike rate of 56%. We shall start, Steve, with Thursday night football. It is the Packers. It's the Cardinals. But before we dive into that, should be noted, PicksWise is the number 1 free app for football picks, odds, and analysis. Find expert picks for every game all season long, loaded with best bets, props, and parlays. You can find in-depth game predictions giving you the who, the how, and the why behind every prediction, all for free. Found your pick? Search our latest DraftKings promotions to sign up for an account and place your bet. Download the free PicksWise app now to make your next bet better. PicksWise backs responsible gambling. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, right now, Steve, Devontae Adams on the COVID list. The Packers D coordinator on the COVID list. Packers are getting 6 points. What are you doing?
I am going to do a prop on this bet. I am going to go to DraftKings. They already have their prop bets up. I'm playing Murray. Pass yards over 258.5. I love this bet, Ross. You look at the Green Bay defense. Who have they played? Cupcake City. backup quarterbacks for the Bears, for Washington, etc. The only good quarterback they played is Joe Burrow, and Burrow only got 22 points. Well, that's because the idiot kicker kept missing all the field goals. Murray and all those receivers are going to have a field day against this Green Bay secondary. Their edge rushers are missing in action. So Murray over 258.5 pass yards, 2 units.
Wow. Interesting. Very interesting. I'm going to, I guess on some level, go the other way. I'm going to take the Packers getting the 6 points for 1 unit. I think I saw something where they're like 5-0 or 6-0 last couple of years, undefeated without Devontae Adams. So I don't know what that stat means. I don't know who they played in all those games. I know this. If you're going to give me Aaron Rodgers and 6 points, I'll take 6 points with Aaron Rodgers and his ability to keep the game close. So just 1 unit with the Packers getting 6 points. Let's move on to the Bengals. This game is now up to 10. Bengals laying 10 at the New York Jets. Steve, it's a total of 43.
Wow. And money on the Bengals and obviously against the Jets. 10 feels a little steep to me. If I had to bet it, I would take the Jets. But you know what? My pure power ratings make it 11. So it does seem like a good spot for the Jets off a blowout loss. But you know what? It's always a good spot for the Jets, seemingly every week. And all this team does is lose and not cover. I'll pass.
Yeah, I got to pass. When it was less than 10, I would have leaned to the Bengals. Now I guess I'd lean to the Jets. But Bengals looking like a really good, mature team right now. The Jets, not so much. No Zach Wilson. By the way, Steve, before I forget, evidently Devontae Adams moved the line 3 points. Is that right?
Yeah, went from 3.5 to 6, 2.5 points. I've got him worth 1.5. He's an elite wide receiver. So it looks like the market has overreacted to that movement. And that could well be why the Packers have been so good without him, is that, hey, Michael Jordan can be fantastic, but if the market values him as being worth more than 6 points, maybe there's value then betting whenever Michael Jordan was out. So it's all about market expectations versus reality. I know, like, as an example, Allen Iverson was a guy that the market would always way overreact when he was out of the lineup, thinking he was more valuable than he was.
Interestingly, Steve, while we're talking about this game, it just went to the Bengals 10.5 on DraftKings Sportsbook. So maybe somebody has bugged your office or my office from DraftKings, literally just went from 10 to 10.5 while we're talking. How about the Dolphins getting 14 points against the Buffalo Bills with a total of 49? It's a lot of points, Steve.
That is a lot of points. And you know what? 35-0 revenge in a divisional blowout. Tua actually looked pretty good last week. But Buffalo's off of a bye. Buffalo historically has had good success against Miami, as they did the first meeting this year. I'll lean Miami.
Lean Miami for me as well. Tua's actually played pretty well the last 2 games, except for 3 horrible interceptions, which is like saying, other than that, how was the movie, Mrs. Lincoln? But is that the expression? Did I get that right? Yes. Got it. Okay. Titans, Colts. The Colts are getting 1.5, and the total is 50. I'm a believer in the Colts team and what I've seen. They're playing at home. I'm going to tease them up from 1.5 to 7.5, and I'm going to pair them with the Minnesota Vikings, who are getting 2.5 with the Cowboys. I'll tease the Vikings up to 8.5, 2 units, 2-team teaser, 6 points. Colts up to 7.5, Vikings up to 8.5, Steve.
Well, I'm proud of you, Ross, because we've been doing this together for years now, and you have become quite the accomplished bettor. I must say, this is the obvious. They call them long teasers, tease through the 3 and through the 7. And what I love about this, you're teasing against 2 what has become ultra public teams in Tennessee. How could they not be public after beating both those great teams in the AFC at home? And we're teasing against the Cowboys, America's team, It makes so much sense. This is a 3-unit best bet teaser for me and a best bet.
The best bet.
So 2 things. One, Brian, our producer from the Peanut Gallery, says there were no movies in 1865. It was a play, not a movie. So you don't say, how was the movie, Mrs. Lincoln? You say, how was the play? So thank you, Brian. At least we know Brian's paying attention behind the scenes, number one. Number 2, if you're going 3 units, I'm going 3 units. We're in this thing together. 3 units, best bet on the Colts and the Vikings. We go big together. Now, this next game's interesting, Steve, because the Rams are laying 14 to the Texans. I got to tell you, and the total is 47.5. Something doesn't sit right with me that this is the same line as the Dolphins Bills. Like, this almost makes me want to put a unit or 2 on the Dolphins. It should not be the same line as the Dolphins Bills.
I hear what you're saying, but the game, of course, is in Houston. So that's a 4-point flip around, for 2 for a home field at each one of these games. I tell you, these Texans, Mills, I can't do it. I can't do it. I like playing big dogs, and I don't like the fact that the Rams got surprised last week. And you saw McVay on the sideline. You see him, Ross, at the end of the first quarter, and he was almost like a professional wrestling bout where, like, you've got, like, some Barry Horowitz against some, like, contending guy, and it's supposed to be a jobber match, and the dude is struggling. The favorite is and he's just like, calm down, I'll put this guy away. It's all right. He's talking to his manager. That's how McVay was, like, everybody calm. Well, they might not be calm this week. They might be looking to kick some ass. I will lean to the favorite.
Yeah, I'll lean to the Rams as well in this one. Although if I find out Tyrod Taylor's playing, that would change things. What about the Eagles laying 3.5 points in Detroit?
Wowza. I did not like what I saw from the Eagles at all in Vegas. Detroit is hungry for a win. I like a winless team that's motivated for their coach. Detroit, I think they can get their win this week, plus 3.5, 2 units.
Agree with everything you just said. The Lions are not going to go winless. And if you look at their schedule, this is maybe their best chance to get a win. Eagles are not in a good way right now, and you're going to give me more than a field goal? 2 units on the Detroit Lions getting 3.5. It's a best bet.
The best bet.
What about the Steelers and the Browns? Earlier, the Steelers were getting 4. Now the Steelers are getting 3.5 in Cleveland, total of 42.
Yeah, so is Baker going to play? If he plays, is he going to be able to function? Pure power rating has all the value with Cleveland in this game. Pittsburgh is off the bye, so an advantage there. But, mitigating it, Cleveland's got their mini bye because they played Thursday. So add it all up, I'll lean with Cleveland at 3.5.
I'm going to go with the Steelers. I think the Browns, they were barely able to beat the Broncos. I think the Steelers, coming off the bye, will be ready to rock and roll. I don't think Baker Mayfield plays. I think it's Case Keenum. I'll take those 3.5 points with the Pittsburgh Steelers, 2 units. Let's get to the Bears and the Niners. The Bears are getting 3.5 points from the Niners at home, Steve. Total is less than 40, 39.5.
Yeah, this one's going to be a real ugly one. Let's go to the first half because I don't see these teams scoring. And yep, we've got a 20, looks like 20 across the board. First half under 20 in this game. Fields, after all these mistakes, is going to be ultra conservative. First half under 20, 2 units.
This is a tough one for me. Both these teams did not look good this past week. I'll take the 3.5 with Chicago, but only 1 unit because of how putrid they were against the Bucs. 1 unit, Bears getting the 3.5. Wow, what a difference a few weeks makes. The Panthers are getting 3 points from the Falcons, Steve. Total of 45.5.
Yeah, the Panthers, the wheels have clearly fallen off. Rule, we all thought highly of him as a coach, but is it no C-Mac? Is it Sam Darnold? It doesn't look like Darnold if you look at what P.J. Tucker did when he came in, and he was awful. I would lean actually with Atlanta here. I'm jettisoning any Carolina hope the rest of the year. I just don't think they have it. Lean Atlanta.
I like what I'm seeing from the Atlanta Falcons. It's kind of hard to believe they're 3-3 and they lost at home to the Eagles in Washington. I mean, the Falcons could be 5-1 if they just took care of business in those two games. I like what I'm seeing from them. I like better visibility, period, which is why I love AutoZone, because from November 1st to November 7th, they've got exclusive deals during AutoZone Visibility Week. It's no brainer. First, you got to start by getting in the AutoZone Rewards program. They literally give you a $5 bonus reward just for joining. Then you get the $10 bonus reward when you buy 2 Rain-X Quantum Wiper blades. Then you get the $25 bonus reward when you buy a Sylvania LED Fog Twin Pack. Get them. Take advantage of the rewards. Why not? Ready to see more and drive safer? Visit your nearest AutoZone or head to AutoZone.com to start your job today. Get in the zone, AutoZone. There you go, Steve. I love it. Team player. I got nothing else for this game. I don't even really have a lean. I guess I'd lean Atlanta laying the 3. Patriots Chargers. Interesting. You've got the Chargers laying 5.5 at home against your boy Bill Belichick, Steve.
So I got the Chargers 3 points better than the Patriots. How much for home field do we give the San Diego Nomads? I don't know. Maybe 1.25. That only gets us to 4.25. So we'll lean with the underdog here, catching the generous 5.5. But I tell you this, Herbert's really good, and the Chargers are going to finish with 10 wins. So they're going to win this game. So the margin for error is slight. That's why just a lean Patriots.
I'll lean Chargers. Patriots have been pretty consistent, but I call it a feeling in this one. The Patriots' 3 wins are still 2 over Zach Wilson, 1 over Davis Mills. Let's get to the Jags getting 3.5 in Seattle, total of 43.
Boy, 3.5 sure looks generous, doesn't it, against a Seattle team? Sometimes, the analysis can be this simple. They can't score. Even though they have 2 great wide receivers, they don't throw to them. Makes no sense at all. You know what? I refuse to do it. Urban Meyer, I don't want to bet on that dude. I'm just leaning Jacksonville.
Yeah, I'm going with the Jags. Momentum, maybe even win 2 in a row. The Seahawks realize it's over for them. They're not going to the playoffs. Who knows when Russell Wilson comes back? I think this is a toss-up game. Give me those 3.5 points, 2 units. Jacksonville Jaguars. What about the Bucs laying 5 on the road in New Orleans, total of 50?
Yeah, I like that New Orleans is getting super healthy. I think New Orleans could have won that game against Seattle by a whole lot more if they don't hit that bomb to DK Metcalf to start the game that really helped set Seattle up in a nice place most of the game. I think New Orleans, this is the type of game, Tampa Bay is going to go 13-3. They're going to lose, 14-3. They're going to lose a couple more games. Well, this is probably the type of game they can lose. New Orleans in the outright upset, 2 units plus the points.
Wow. Interesting. Okay. I don't see it, but I like when you go bold. I will just lean to the Bucs laying the 5. You just said they're by far the best team. Let's go to Washington getting 3 in Denver. Totals 43.5, Steve.
Yeah, and I like what I saw from Washington. They played very well against Green Bay. They won the stats, as you mentioned. Don't like anything I'm seeing from Denver. Washington +3, 2 units.
Interesting. Yeah, I can't do it. Heineke's going to Heineke. I'll just lean Washington getting the 3 points. Can't do it. Cowboys, Vikings, we already teased 3 units. The Vikings up to 8.5, pairing it with the Colts. They're getting 2.5. The total's 55. Anything else on this game, Steve?
Yeah, since the favorites have been doing very well in select games, especially the public teams, Cowboys still haven't lost against the spread. If the public wants to take their chips and shove with those chips and lay that 2.5 and knock it up to 3, I will supplement my teaser bet on the Vikings with a +3, but kind of a pro secret here. Pros never bet +2.5s early in the week when their team's playing a public team because they know there's a really good chance they could get 3 later in the week. And what are you risking? You should never bet +2.5. Worst case scenario, this line drops a little. +2.5, +1.5 is almost the same thing. +3, so much more valuable. We wait. We're patient with the Vikings.
Interesting. All right. I like you on the Vikings. I'm with you. Last but not least, it's Monday Night Football. It is the Chiefs hosting the Giants. The Chiefs are laying 10, Steve. Total 51.5.
And I went to my power ratings. I have Kansas City 2 points still better than an average team. Maybe that's crazy. I've downgraded them significantly. Given that rating and the Giants rating, I make this game 10. The spread is 10. I'll dig into props later in the week. I've got nothing on this game.
Give me 1 unit on the New York Giants getting 10. They just won a game 25-3. They're feeling pretty good. The Chiefs have not been good. 10 points is a lot. 1 unit on the G-Man. That'll do it. Follow that man on social media at Fezzik Sports so you always know what he's up to. I'm at Ross Tucker NFL. We are at Ross Tucker Pod. This show's available on youtube.com/Ross Tucker NFL as well. And you can always get any of the bets we made, patreon.com/RT Media. Become a patron. You get our private Slack channel. And our boy Grades does all of our grading. You can see it in black and white. It's right there for you. I think we're done here. Good luck, everybody. Hope you guys.
Thanks for listening to the Even Money Podcast. Make sure to also subscribe to the Ross Tucker Football Podcast, The Fantasy Feast, Business of Sports, and The College Draft. All available at Apple Podcasts, rosstucker.com, or wherever podcasts can be found.
A lot of times on the show, I mentioned DraftKings. Here's what you need to know. You got to be 21 or older, New Jersey, Indiana, or Pennsylvania only. New customers only. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER, or in Indiana, 1-800-9-WITH-IT. By the way, if what I was talking about included a deposit bonus, doesn't always, sometimes it does. Deposit bonus requires 25 times playthrough, and deposit bonuses are paid out in site credit.